we'll have gun regulations for you and I. Meanwhile, Fast and Furious can be shipping weapons, even ongoing now, to jihadis in other countries. Now, Judicial Watch has actually come out saying that a gun sold illegally off book in Phoenix made its way to the Paris terror attacks that took place last year. This was an agent from the ATF who was able to trace this gun's serial number back to Phoenix, which is, of course, the site of Operation Fast and Furious. Now, the Phoenix gun owner who the weapon was traced back to had 2 previous federal firearms violations, one for selling a weapon illegally and one for possessing an unregistered automatic weapon. But the ATF leaders were very insistent on going out of their way to keep this information under the radar. Don't upset this guy. Don't get him mad. We don't want him to go public. Why not? Was this dealer involved in Operation Fast and Furious? Now, we had Lieutenant Colonel Matt Smith-Meck on the Alex Jones show earlier this year, and he said this is absolutely ongoing, and Fast and Furious is being used to get weapons into the hands of terrorists.
What I would speculate is dovetailing on what Tosh Plumlee has been on your program before and talked about. This is I think, part of a much larger international gun running operation. As a matter of fact, a person in Congress had asked me to ask this central character, this integral figure that still is trying to help the Terry family, congressional oversight, that you have a nexus between Fast and Furious, and if not Benghazi, at least the Middle East. We know from accounts from the folks who are actually involved with running these weapons, in September of 2010, weapons separate from what we would call Fast and Furious were run down to Mexico, down to a town in Mexico, Caborca, actually, met with an international Middle Eastern arms dealer and en route over to the Middle East. This happened at least 3 times, again, starting in September of 2010, and I think of great import is a Moroccan DST commander. Their DST is their internal security forces. On 16 October 2010, reported to his supervisors that Fast and Furious weapons were in the Kingdom of Morocco en route to arm the rebels in Algeria. So here we have now a nexus from weapons going across the southern border into Mexico, and then from there going out to God knows where.
Wow. And I know some of the NATO sources, the Plumlee and others, have said that. And then so much of what Plumlee said 3-4 years ago has come out and been exactly true. We now have so many of the heroes that survived, who were on the ground, who got the sat phone calls from the State Department, from orders that no, the Secretary says stand down. And we have them now on Fox News, basically exposing what Hillary's done. And we know that there's a conduit basically fencing the guns through Mexico and then out to the Middle East. Simply amazing. And then you're breaking down intel with all your sources that it's still going on. That is mind-blowing. I mean, I know you're here talking about it. I know Breitbart's reported on some of this. What can we do as investigative journalists out there listening, myself included, to draw more attention to this? I mean, what's the bottom line narrative? I mean, this just sounds like outrageous tyranny. It's not just going to drug cartels. Now it's going to ISIS and Al-Qaeda, Stinger missiles out of Benghazi. We know that now. I mean, when I was told that by Colonel Schaefer 3-4 years ago, I couldn't believe it. I mean, he got in trouble for saying it on air. It's been turned out to be true. I mean, I believed him. It was just unbelievable. And then now we got it from all these other sources. I mean, the military knows about it. How do they get away with this?
Boy, sir, it's as Lenin said, any lie told big enough or often enough is believable. And I think people are hoping the American people just forget about it. We have a short attention span, unfortunately. But for me, it's very personal in that, Brian, besides being a Border Patrol agent, was also a former Marine. I'm a former Marine. We do not let Marines stay on the battlefield, whether it's their body or their reputation or their soul. So for me, it's personal. And what I would say, sir, we have made contact with Tristan Levitt at House Oversight, with Jason Foster in Senator Grass's office. And unfortunately, and I'd like to have, certainly Kent come back in here. Those folks, the Terry family, Kent in particular, not even getting the courtesy of return phone calls.
Amazing. Stay right there, sir, because you make a good point. You can stay longer, but Kent Terry, Brother Brian Terry's got to go in about 5 minutes. So you've heard the powerful points that Matt's made here, Colonel has made. What can you add to this? What else would you like to impart to folks about your brother, sir?
give Brian the honor he deserves. I mean, don't shrug him off, throw him under the rug like he's some piece of dirt. And that's what this country's doing. Just not the country. Just, the Congress and senators promised my family justice, accountability. Even Elijah Cummings promised my mom. And guess what? Nothing. Nothing has happened. They don't keep in contact with us. They don't tell us nothing. It's always, every time they do call us, they want to know what we know. And it's like, I'm getting sick of it. I mean, like I said, my brother served 20 years to this country, over 20 years. And this is what he gets in return?
Well, he was doing his job too good, and that's obvious, and he is a hero, and he helped unravel so much of this, so at least the public knows. But you're right. He's like the string that'll unravel the whole sweater. That's why they want it shut down. But thank God, good ATF agents and others, and people like yourself and your family having courage, and Lieutenant Colonel Smith-Meck and others. In court of public opinion, people pretty much know what happened. But to me, it's so amazing that it's ongoing. I mean, if we just let your brother hang out there and don't stand up for him, we're all in danger. And I wish some of the public out there got how important this is. If they can get away with crimes of this magnitude, Kent, we're all in trouble. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. And another thing is, too, with all these ISIS threats and all these ISIS coming through the border, what makes you think they're not going to grab these weapons that are down in Mexico and use them on a terrorist act here, or another school shooting, or a multiple shooting?